here we go, the 65th country, Brazil. So after I visited the Iguazu waterfall from the Argentina side, I took a bus. It brought me to the Iguazu on the Brazilian side, but I didn't visit the waterfall from the Brazilian side. And then when I tried to enter the immigration of Brazilian side, the immigration officer seems confused after seeing my passport. So he waited until his senior boss came, and then after his boss took over my passport and took a look and then offered me a stamp. But unfortunately, the boss I found to take me just left me behind. So I was a little bit upset because my bus left, and then they told me I have to buy a new ticket. So the Argentina peso I left is affordable for another ticket. And after that, I took another bus and I arrived in Brazil. But after I passed all the procedure with the immigration, and then I went out from the immigration checkpoint, and then I found out the bus left me again. So in total, 2 buses left me during the immigration process. And then I just decided to hitchhike because I haven't changed my money for the Brazilian currency. And luckily, there's a local tour guide picked me up, and he can speak a little bit English and Spanish, Portuguese, different language. And then he was kind enough to take me to exchange money, and after that dropped me in a long distance bus station. And then he even showed me which companies runs the bus between the border, like Iguazu to Sao Paulo. So I took a bus to Sao Paulo, and after that I stayed in a hostel. I was in Sao Paulo for about 1 week, and most of the time I was just chilling because I want to have enough rest and good immune system against Zika. Because before I go to Brazil, I already got the information about the Zika, the virus. And then my friend was suggesting me to be very careful. But I was thinking, okay, if I will catch it, I will catch it. I mean, it's like destiny or something like that. I'm still going to Brazil. And so, and I remember that there was a lot of Japanese who lives in Sao Paulo. That's not very common to see in other countries because Japanese is not very much abroad other than their own country for living. I mean, a huge number and a huge amount. So in Sao Paulo, it's easily to find the Asian food. And some people told me one of the Brazilian culture is to admire other culture. I think this is very great, which means they are very super open-minded. And I still remember one day I went out for sightseeing. So I passed a very fancy house, and I asked the owner who were packing her car, and then she showed me the direction, and after that I continued walking. And then when I arrived across the night, and then there's just one fancy white car stop. It's just exactly the lady who I earlier asked for direction. She just decided to offer me a lift. Excuse me. So I feel, she's so adorable. And then after she dropped me, I just offered her a chick-to-chick greeting. And despite she doesn't speak any much English. Then on the way back to my hostel, I was walking. There's some local residents, they were picking up avocado, just outside of their garden, and they saw me and they just gave me one. I think the Brazilian I met in Sao Paulo were really friendly. And after that, I made my way to Rio de Janeiro. In Rio, I was being very careful because the safety, there's a huge difference between the rich and poor. It's always like this. And then Rio is such a mountain and sea combination city. And I was being very careful how, even for my hostel, I was checking if the street is safe, and then if the house the distance to and from the airport and the long distance bus station, and also is it convenient for sightseeing. Normally I choose a budget option, but for Rio the hostel I just check the details I've mentioned above. And then while I was a little bit worried about the safety in Rio, and then luckily I stayed in the dormitory, and then the next day 2 tall Spanish guys came as my roommate, and then we accompanied each other to visit the favela. So we walked through the seaside in Rio, and then they were joking. They said if unluckily someone came to rob us, and then they too will just first pretend they were robbing me. So I have to pretend I'm very scared about these 2 guys, and I always laughed my head off with them. And then when we arrived the bottom of the favela, each of us took a motorbike. We going up, and I really think the motor driver in Rio, they can handle the high altitude and the busy traffic and so smoothly. And then after that we arrived at a place where you can admire the view, the mountain and the sea. It's like a slice of moon, and it's really amazing view. And seeing the teenagers from the favela flying kites, that's a wonderful experience. On the way back, we didn't take motor anymore. We walked down, and luckily nothing bad happened to us. We had a safe day out to the favela. And Rio was the last stop in my Latin America trip, and I still remember the 1 or 2 days before my flight, I was into the breakfast because that hostel offered a free breakfast every day, which is very important for me because I was traveling in Latin America for 5 months already, so I almost ran out of my money. So free breakfast is so important. Every day I enjoy it so much. Try to eat as much as possible to skip the lunch. And one day I was eating my breakfast, so I just saw one local guy, and he stopped us, and I just saw there were so many red spots on his back, and there were 2 other guys sit in front of me, and then they were saying that guy caught Zika, and then I thought they were joking, and after that I found out it's true. And then after that I feel a little bit scared because there's mosquitoes in the hostel, and then Zika can transfer by the mosquitoes. So I was a little bit panicked. So I was praying for my flight coming soon because I can't wait to leave. But after I left Latin America, I feel okay, I missed already because, whenever people feel not happy, they just dance and shake their bum, and then nothing big a deal. So I love the culture and the character in Latin America, and I feel so grateful because after 5 months trip in Latin America, I got Zika free. So which I think it's really blessed. So it's like the same. I feel I'm very lucky. After traveling in Africa, I never get malaria. It's like the same. So thank you so much for listening. The next coming episode, that will be North Korea.